y'all? It's GT Junior Grove, Alaska. So I just wanted to bring a video to y'all really quick. Some of y'all that have been watching a few of my lives, videos, conversation, things like that. I was in a predicament where my chicken was not feeling that good. So it's like for about three days to about a week, somewhere around that time frame. And I'm not a chicken guy. I got chicken so that I can try to secure eggs. But there's a lot of things that I even experienced and I told other chicken owners that they've never experienced. So with that being said, I ran into issues to where my chickens were not, well, one chicken out of 10 was not feeling good. So what I did is I called a YouTuber that is known to have an understanding of chicken culture, different things about chicken. So I understood that completely. But microfarmer, appreciate you. So what I was explaining to him, he has never witnessed for himself. It has never happened with his flock, and he has quite a bit of chickens. So I went to my local feed, and I looked on the internet looking for, what to do, and Micro was able to find exactly the things that I was talking about. He was able to find someone that was actually had experienced that. Bam. I listened to Appalachia's Homestead, and she was talking, this was months ago, she was talking about getting medication for your animals just in case things are not as available with price, different things that cause you to evaluate differently. So what I did exactly that. I bought some stuff, this right here. I bought this right here. And I was scared, cautious. And after I did that live, I actually went into the home in the garage to make sure that the chicken was still alive and that my wife did not have to witness, the passing. So I went to the feed store. The feed store actually gave me advice and gave me she just was giving a story, and the story was basically what probably happened. I think my chicken ate some of the adult feed when it is only 4 months old, and that caused 5 months, 4 or 5 months. It caused the chicken organs to have issues. That's what I believe, because when I was explaining it to people, it was like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and I was like, because of what I was witnessing, I was believing that it was not the right representation of what I was experiencing. I was experiencing that this was an internal issue, I believe. I believe that it was more than just a tear. So some of the advice that I was given, it seemed like there was more that I wasn't explaining correctly. Sometimes you can't say things the way you want to because you don't have you don't know. Sometimes what you see is you can't calm down. Things you can't actually put into words. So a lot of people was telling me, which makes total sense, separate the chicken. Makes total sense. I understood it. I understood the assignment, and I cleaned out a cage. I have another cage, cleaned out the cage, put the cage in, in the vicinity of the other chickens so they can see each other. But it didn't. I had the chicken in there maybe 5-10 minutes, and the morale of the chickens went terrible. So it was like, okay, I can't have her in here because it's actually not beneficial to no one. The chicken doesn't have a communicable disease or anything like that. A communicable sickness is something that internally may be messed up. Now, she's not with some vicious, that my chickens aren't as vicious. I mean, chickens are chickens. But basically, I took her out of the enclosure that I had her in that she was in for about 10 minutes. I took her out of there. I put her back with the other chickens, and she was slow to respond. She was lethargic. There was blood in her stool. What else? She was falling asleep. She wasn't eating, but she was taking a drink. And that was my cue there. I was like, oh, she's taking a drink. So when it got this right here, well, I have this. This is what I start putting into the drink. First thing I start putting in there. Start putting that in there. Then I start putting this back. Then I start putting this in there. And then I made sure that I use leafy greens. Leafy greens because with leafy greens have a good source of iron from the research that I did attempt to look at. So with the chicken losing, out of her droppings, I wanted to try to give her more iron. So I made sure that I tried to feed her. My wife actually said, oh, she's eating a little bit. When I came around, I started to see just a little bit of movement. And then one day I think it was Monday, I actually seen her like at where she used to be, where she was running around with the other chickens, she was eating food, she was coming out. So all of the symptoms that she was experiencing, displaying before that, it was gone. And I was happy to actually see that she was coming back into herself. So that made me very, very thrilled. So, yeah, so this is my experience. It's going to be different from yours. There's cold, there's temperature that you have to take into consideration when dealing with your chicken. Their diet, the breed, age. There's a lot of other variables that may make your experience and your treatment different from mine. But my treatment seemed to work for my girl. I did these steps. I followed these steps. I read the directions. I used not common sense, because that's not fair. Instead of giving her this recommended dose, I gave them, because there's 3 chickens in there, I gave them 1/4 of that, because this is new. Yes, it's organic and all this other stuff, but still, too much of anything or not properly given can hurt. And they're under 4 months, so I had to read the label, and the label tells you different things. So it worked for me. So I just wanted to share and let the comments roll in. But this is my experience. My proof is that my baby is displaying that she feels better. No matter what she is displaying, that she feels better. Yes. So if I helped you in any regards with this, I'm happy that I did. If you gotta trust this process, and they have books And sometimes that book takes forever to read. But remember, you're in charge of someone's care. Pet, friend, or foe, you're in charge of it. So, do right by them. All right, y'all.
Hey, Blue.
She is doing so well. I am so proud of her. She has recovered quite nicely. That's my baby. I call her Blue.